Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin HTV. Been a little break here since I had our last episode. Took off last weekend to go skiing with my kids. Ended up being a bit of a costly trip. Had my speed demon youngest daughter go smoking down a hill. She gets a compression fracture, and then we find out today there was a little chip in one of the bones. Now we gotta go see an orthopedic surgeon. Part of the fun, so a cheap ski trip ended up not being so cheap. Anyways, welcome. Tonight is session 66, 3D bed comparison, and we are going to get cracking here in a few minutes. It is about 25 after here in the great state of Kansas, 8:26. So we'll get everybody in the room and welcome everyone. Hello, Vaughn. See Eric is here. Eric Clinton, that is. We got a couple of Erics. Garrett, I see, is in the house. Let's go backtrack just a little bit, see who else is around. Ward is here, as always. Good to see you, Ward. Kevin Shaw is here. Jason is here. All right, good to see everyone. All right, welcome. So yeah, I had a guy, I forget who it was, ask me to do a comparison on the 3D printed beds I have, and I'm like, okay. So here they are. Hi, Clint. Good to see you. This will end up being a gratuitous plug for my Shapeways store, but hey, got to pay the bills, right? Hey, howdy, Ward. Good to see you. One little caveat on this. I am going to introduce a company that I used on one of my beds to print it, which is different than Shapeways. Very, very, very much excited about the results of this. And some subsequent test printing will happen with them, but I'll get into that as we go along. And of course, if we run out of things to talk about, I have some styrene here that I use to make styrene beds. I'll share with you the numbers and kind of what I do there if we run out of things to talk about, which I think we'll get along pretty well here. And we have Chris, from overseas, from New Zealand. He's here. Welcome, Chris. Are you done packing silage, Chris? I'm curious if you're still out there. So he chops silage here in the States all summer here, and then goes home and packs silage all winter over in his area. Nathan, wishing you the best. How are you, Nathan? Kind of in the mood. I'm not a pop drinker, but boy, Diet Pepsi sounded really good tonight, so here I am. Kind of had a craving for something sweet and weird. I don't know. Kind of crazy. So anybody do anything fun for spring break? I mean, I took an adventure, but I don't know if anyone else did. Good to hear, Nate. All right. Yeah, like I said, I took my kids skiing. My youngest 12 and my middle daughter had not skied before, and my youngest, she's like, Dad, I want to go with you because I can go fast. So we went real fast. Anyway, so she hit this really nice groomed blue. Blue is kind of like an intermediate slope or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's really nice and groomed, and they call it freeway for a reason because it is fast. And she's hauling the mail down this slope like nobody's business. I mean, she is totally foreign to a speed limit at this point. She gets down to the bottom of the hill, and I'm stopped. I'm kind of looking. I'm like, "Where's Kara at? I can't find her anywhere." And I hear her whimper, and there she is over on the side. Well, me being a good dad, she's like, "Oh, it hurts really bad," and she's crying and everything. And I'm like, "What are you doing? Just get up. Let's brush it off and go on." And then I got the feeling about it. All right, let's go over to the first aid station. And the guy says, "Well, can't do anything about it unless we have an X-ray." And I said, "It's probably just a sprain." Well. By Tuesday, we came home on Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, the swelling had not gone down, and my wife took her in, and yeah, sure enough, broken bone. So, there you go. Okay, so we have Jason. He says he changed shanks on his field cultivator. Well, pays the bills, right? Chris says, we have just started our fall season picking corn. Oh, year-round silage. Oh, wow. So you're still so you don't get away from chopping. That's pretty cool. So are you running a chopper now, or are you packing? Because I think when I met Chris out in Ulysses, Kansas here, he was chopping for a fellow, and he said that he just packs silage in the wintertime, well, or I guess your summer over there, our winter here in New Zealand. I thought that was kind of cool. And we have Austin Czar watching. Good to see you. Heath is watching from Texas. Good to see you guys. All right, let's see what time we got. Oh, look at that. It's 8:30. So here we go. Hey everyone, it's Eric with Rockin HTV, session 66. Tonight we're going to do some comparison of 3 different 3D printed beds that I produce. Actually 4 when you see the variation. This comes from a reader request. He was shopping in my store and says, hey, I want to know which one I should buy, do a comparison so I can figure it out. All right. So, I'm not the only guy that does 3D printed grain beds, and I'll show you a slight variation on one that I have. I forget who prints it, and then I know AccuScale Farm Toys prints some beds, and then I know some guys have bought my files from me, so you know there's different guys out there producing 3D printed grain beds, so you got lots and lots of choices. You don't have just mine. Some are printed in high-end plastics. Mine aren't so much. But we'll get into all that as we go. And we'll welcome Tim of AccuScale Farm Toys. He will have some of his beds. He can post a link to his store if he wants. Shane is here. Good to see you, Shane. And we'll welcome, Chris says he is packing for 6 months in New Zealand, chop for 6 months in the USA. All right, so he is year-round silage. Insane. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip my camera around and then I'll show you some trucks. Here we go. Okay, and we have Tim in the house. Good to see you, Tim. Here is the 3D printed beds that I have right now. This is called the AS, short for Aeroswint, and I use AS just so I stay. I can't get in any trouble if I call it AS, right? So this is called although the manufacturer of Aeroswint is just tickled pink that I'm making their models, or making their beds in small scale. I need to give them one just cause. Anyway. So Aeroswint Manufacturing, it's here in Kansas, actually about 65 miles northwest of me, and this is basically an exact replica of their bed. The only difference would be on theirs is they will have a little sticker right here with their brand and logo on it, and then they'll have another one back here on the gate. And my gate doesn't quite match theirs, but the gate is fairly universal from one to another, just because my designer kept it inexpensive for me. And I really didn't care so much about the end gate detail as this is what I was after. Okay, so this is the Aeroswint AS. It comes in 18, 20, and 22 foot configuration. This is the 22. You'll notice a hole down here and a hole up here. When I originally had this designed, it had, hydraulic cylinders and all that kind of stuff. And what I found was that getting the hydraulics to work in here along with silage racks, because my goal was to have silage trucks that match theirs. To get all that to work together was just a pain in the butt. So the hole is still there, and I've just dumped off the... and then Shapeways gave me static pretty regularly because everything else would print fine in wide strung flexible polished, and then it wouldn't print at all with those stupid little hydraulic cylinders in it, so I had a designer edit those out, and so that's what I've got. So this is the AS series. Again, pretty much basically a spot-on replica of the Aeroswint bed. Yeah, it's just spot on. And if you go to aeroswint.net, I believe is their website, or if you Google Aeroswint, AEROSWINT, you'll see what I mean there. So, and then you have a little bit of detail here. You have some stringers and whatnot, and all this is designed to work together with this subframe and then the hoist that I have 3D printed. And then this rollover tarp frame is kind of a universal deal. you can see some print lines here, because this is just white strong and flexible. Went the El Cheapo rat on this one. And then this bed is actually printed in China. This bed cost me $11. On Shapeways it cost me $26. Look at that. You cannot see, I mean, you can see some print lines kind of going from side to side. Look at that. This was $11. It now cost $18 to ship it here. But if I were to, when I buy more of these, I will buy 5 or 6 of them and then spread that cost out over 6, and it's still cheaper than printing at Shapeways. And then look at this, how smooth that is. Oops, sorry. Look how smooth that is. That is crazy cool. I can't get that. You can't buy them this smooth from Shapeways for that price. Or at least I haven't found it yet. Maybe you can. I haven't found it yet. And don't worry, I'll post a link to the store where I bought this. I'm not going to hold any secrets from you. It's no big deal. And then I'm also going to do an episode just on how this company, what I've learned using this particular company that made this bed, because the website is not user-friendly compared to what you understand with Shapeways. I will tell you that. Okay, so this is the AS, short for Aeroswint. And this is a 22-foot bed. That is, I call this the MA. Again, it's short for Mid-America Combo Box. It was a Kansas manufactured bed that they don't even make end dumps anymore because they didn't, I guess they quit selling them. Or, I mean, they weren't selling the real ones. And so they just gave up making end dumps. But I love the style of bed. I just kind of like that smooth side. And so I had my designer, he was an English fellow. He created this for me. So, yeah, this is white, strong, and flexible polished. Not flexible, and it's not FUD, obviously. But this one is, yeah, is what it is. So you can see how it's kind of rough and grainy compared to this one. And, yeah. Comes with, there's just no frills. The end gate is universal. It's the same end gate that's on this one. Although there's a broken bar there. Oops. Yeah, it's not much more to say about it than that. There's the front. You can see some print lines in the front of this for whatever reason. They just are there. I don't get too worried about some of that stuff, especially where it sits on a shelf and you never see it. One little interesting thing, this is the metallic plastic. I had this printed in metallic plastic, which was fun just to try it. That was kind of cool. So I didn't paint this, FYI. This is the way I bought it, in metallic plastic. That was cool. Yeah, I don't know what more I can ask about that. Let me see here. Tim is about AS as in trucks that drop the pans off the back. Pans off the back. Tim AS, I'm not sure what you mean there. If you could clarify your question, I would be glad to answer that. Okay. And then finally on the 3D end of it, oh, this one also comes in 18, 20, and 22 foot lengths. One thing I did fail to mention, I forget who's making it, but I think it's a Canadian bed. But there's a bar that goes down the middle of this. I mean, it doesn't go over, I can't even describe it, but there's a variation of this kind of bed from Canada, and I forget who's printing it, but somebody else is printing it, and it has a bar that goes in that little groove right here and here, but not across this flat spot in the middle. I forget who's doing that, but it's a great looking bed, so don't forget you have that choice. And if that guy's watching, please post a link to your Shapeways store. Okay, finally, I have this thing called the KN. I don't know how you say it, Naphide, whatever. I went out in the sticks. Actually, I just went south of town. I was actually picking up my daughter from a friend's house, and I saw this truck in a yard, and I thought, ooh, I want that bed. I wheeled over there and took a bunch of pictures and measurements while no one was looking, and this is a Naphide, however you want to say it. Naphide, I always said it Naphide. But this is a replica of a knapheide grain bed. These are both printed in white, strong, flexible, polished. Obviously, they're painted, and you can see it's a bit grainy in here, but that's just white, strong, flexible, polished, right? That's the way it goes on those. The difference between these two, here it is. Notice here it says knapheide. Oh, knapheide. See, I thought I was saying it right. Thank you, Jason. This has a 12-inch extension, and this one does not. So in my Shapeways store, I call this one the tall version. This one's the short version. Excuse me. In my imagination, when I had this particular bed created, in my imagination, I wanted these so you could take them on and off. And my designer talked me out of it because he said it probably wouldn't work and it just add more hassle to the build, you know, for the end user. So I thought, you're probably right. And I really didn't care about it. If they came on and off, I just thought it'd be a nice feature. And so we punted that idea and then just made the tall version static, and then the shorter version, which is just without the optional 12-inch extension that this one has. So you have the high version and the low version, short version, whatever. And when you receive this one, the front and the sides are all wired together on a sprue. And again, in my perfect world, I wanted this so you could take these apart and play with them, you know, like you would in the real world. Because I remember my grandfather, he would take the sides off and then haul bales on them. And I thought that idea was cool. But this didn't really work as well as I'd hoped it would. So you have these little pins on here. And you'll see this little nub here. This is a wire, a sprue, right here and here and here and here. So on the inside of your bed, you'll notice all these wire marks. You can cut those off better than I did. But that's where this thing is all wired together. And then on the floor as well. So the outside, you don't have those wire marks. But on the inside, you do. See? But anyways, where I was going with that is you have these pins right here. And, you know, my goal was you could go ahead and take these on and off. And I think my designer he was an English fellow, really nice guy. But this just never really came to work the way I wanted it to. And I got tired of spending money on it. So I actually, when I assemble them now, I cut these pins off and I just glue it together and then make it permanent. Except on this one, because I have a header in the back of this, which is kind of fun. I think if I were to do this truck over, I'd have put a 22 instead of a 20 on it. But oh well. Anyway, hindsight's 20/20. I could still do that, actually. Wait a minute. Better quit thinking. So yeah, that's that. So this actually will come in 1, 4, 5 pieces. This one comes in 5 pieces. Okay. So Jason says he needs to get a couple of these because he had some 2-ton trucks in the 90s and earlier than that. And Ward says, make cattle racks and a cattle end gate. Yeah, I know. There's a guy that already does that, but he's stingy. He won't sell me his file. And if the demand was there, it certainly, or if a guy wanted to, if a dozen of you wanted, or 4 or 5 of you wanted to say, hey, let's make a version with cattle racks and crowdsource it and everybody gets files, I'd go for that. That'd be kind of fun. I'd definitely go for that. All right. So those are the beds that I have in my Shapeways store at this moment. Is there questions about these that I can answer for you right now? I gotta admit, I love this Brigadier. That just makes me smile. I got 3 more of them, and I painted the wheels over the model building summit, and all the frames, everything's together. I just need to buy beds. But they're all getting 22-foot high sides, and they're just, oh man, just getting excited thinking about it. These are great looking. These are great trucks. Is there anything you guys want to know about these? Retail out of Shapeways, they're probably not they're not the cheapest thing you're going to buy. I'll just admit it. I'm not getting rich on them. I got them marked up, I think, between 30 and 40% over cost. So if that lets you know what you're paying. So I'm not getting rich on them, but yeah, I'm making a little money here and there. I make money on the finished models if I sell a finished model. That's where you really make gravy. So Clint asked for any 14 or 16 footers. At this time, I don't have a 14 or 16. Tim Holker's got one in AccuScale Farm Toys. You know, ideally I need to get these, at least this one, scaled down to a 16. I just haven't done it yet. Heath says, did you use a hitch? What did I use for a hitch on the, yeah. Okay. It's just a piece of brass styrene. Whoops. Let me get you in the shot there. Piece of brass angle. I'm sorry, not styrene. Brass angle that I cut down, drilled a hole in, and then I just glued it on. Matter of fact, it's glued on right. You can see the kind of the glue on that white piece there. That's what I did on that one. Here's brass again, and this I just glued right to the back of that. Again, mine's set on a shelf. They don't move, so I don't get overly crazy about, you know, getting too carried away gluing them on. These I am kind of proud of these because this is kind of cool. This is just black tape. That's just black tape for a mud flap, and I like how they're on the beds because I remember my grandpa's trucks, they were mounted to the bed. Thought that was cool. Let me see. Angela Clayton and James Van Riswick. Where did I get the Brigadier? I bought them all on eBay. I trolled eBay for a month trying to find these, and I bought 3 of them out of China. And I forget where I got that one. And then I mounted these on top shelf replicas Ford frames. And these are tanks from Harvester 850 on Shapeways. Okay. Let's see what else we got here for questions. Tim asked if I could print a box truck. Yeah, anyone can. I don't have any interest in a box truck for myself, but if you wanted to, gosh, that would be an easy one to print. Just find someone to draw it up and off you go. Okay. This one. Oh, my computer just went to sleep, or I'd tell you the website. Let's see if we can get that. What was it? It was, okay. ff3dm.com is the, let's just go make sure before I say that. Yeah. ff3dm.com is the printer in China that made this bed. I have not bought anything from China, or excuse me, bought anything from Shapeways this cheap, this smooth. And I'll just lay that out there. Again, for those of you that just joined, there you go. You can kind of see the lines in it. There's some print lines, you can see them, but this is wicked smoother than, let me get you there. I mean, just look at that. You can't even compare the smoothness. This is white, strong, flexible polish in over here with the diamond, and this is from China, and I cannot recall off the top of my head what I printed in, but I do recall the price. It was 11 bucks. And it did cost $18 to ship it, just so you know. Jamie Noble asked, do I 3D print cattle trucks like that? No, not at this time, Jamie. But for the right price, I would. All right. If you're interested, I'll go ahead and share with you some other stuff that I do or have done in the past. I have two styrene trucks here. This is all styrene bed except for this end gate and then this tarp, the rollover tarp frame, the hoist, and this mounting frame. But the rest of it's styrene. And here's what I'm using for that. Right here. This is the floor, 4544 board and batten. You can buy this for $5 at hobbylink.com. 91104 Plastruct for the floor. Again, hobbylink.com. You can build how many beds out of this? I don't know. 6 beds at least out of this for $5. Or, you know, for $10 you've got all the beds you want out of this styrene. Here is another style of styrene that I use. It's called 4528 metal siding. I used to offer this in a kit, but it's like I just didn't want to jack with making kits anymore. So I thought, here, just take the information and you guys go do your own. Save yourself even more money, because for what you spend on one of mine, you can go out and buy 50, you know, make 30 of your own if you wanted to, just by using a Sharpie or scissors and a straight edge, doing a little math. So here are the different types of styrene I've used to make grain trucks and trailers, for that matter. I made some Neville trailers out of this stuff, and that's board and batten right there. I'm sorry I don't have a truck out of this stuff right here because I don't like it. I just don't like that style of bed. Maybe I should say that. There you go. So this is what I'm using for this bed. My daughter cut a sheet of this stuff up to make this. So this is her truck, or 2 of these she made. And then right, and then I've done gobs over the years out of this stuff too. Matter of fact, this is the first one I started with, was this stuff right here, this metal siding. This is like the first plastic. I went to a hobby store by accident, and I bought this, and this was the first stuff I made grain beds out of, as I recall. Oh, and I made some out of brass, which, whew, that was tough. So that's kind of what I do there. So that is everything that I make, right? What's wrong stuff? So these are all the different variations of grain beds I've made over the years. But the 3D ones, as far as the time involved and the end product, the 3D beds are, by and large, way nicer than any of the styrene that I've done. But I've kept a few around just because, well, they make me smile. There you go. All right, guys, it is about, what are we ringing at? 9:53 here. What kind of questions do you have regarding 3D printed beds and all that good stuff? There we go. What question is burning on your mind that you have wanted to ask and you haven't found an answer to regarding either the work that I do, or maybe others do, or even the process of getting this stuff where it is today? Like I said, you're not going to hurt my feelings by asking a question, because if you're not asking it, there's no use seeking it out the hard way. That's just a waste of time. Okay, I'm going to go out, and right now what I'm doing is, you guys are typing in your questions. I'm going out to the show live, and I'm going to post a link on the show, so to 3DM, or whatever that is. If I can find it. Where you at? Where you at? There it is. Okay. Okay. There you go. Now you have a link to the place in China I've been, I printed that one bed at. Okay, any thoughts of making some longer AS and MAs? Yeah, Nathan, if I could get that guy in frickin' England to contact me again, I'd love to do it. because I mean, he was cheap, and he'd know what to do. If I could get him back, I would love to do that. I could make him longer. I can make him any size you want, really. I do have a 36-foot long sides. I don't have the floor and all that other stuff printed in it because it was just like insane expensive, and I was feeling stingy. So I do actually have this and this in 36-foot lengths, but it's only the side, the front, that U shape is all it is, plus an end gate, and that's it. So a guy could actually come in and buy either one of those and cut those down to whatever size you want, and then you'd have to put in your own styrene floor. It's an option. I don't know how great it is. It's one of those things where, and I don't know what other 3D guys think about this idea, but for all of you 3D guys out there that are printing stuff, you know, there comes a point when you're paying someone to do your drawing, I mean, how many variations and at what cost do you want to spend for the return you're going to get? Yeah, I've done a lot of things where I just, you know, I spent a bunch of money, like this crust buster that I need to answer about. You know, I got a bucket of money. I got at least $1,500 into that over the years, just editing, doing test prints, and blah blah blah. And the test prints never sell well because they're not right. Blah blah. Yeah. At one point you just got to say, yeah, I'm done. But I'm not opposed to it if we can get enough guys together to do some crowdfunding and stuff like that. I'd be all for it. Okay, I got to go do some more questions here. Hi, Charlie. Angela, do you sell hoist kits? Yes, I will post a link to my Shapeways store, and there's all sorts of hoists in there. I think I have a 10 hoist builder pack all wired together. It looks like a rat's nest, but it's there. And all that. But yeah, they're single, 5, and 10, I believe. Heath says, you know, I really want a Crustbuster update now that I can look at you. Right on. Well, the Crustbuster's ready to go. Garrett Mock actually bought one. When he gets that in, you should ask him. I haven't actually printed one yet with the updates, but should be okay. I'm actually going to take that I'm going to print it in China and see how those guys get on with it because it's a different material. I'm curious to see how it go. So I'm going to do I'm going to have China print it. Only reason I haven't done it yet is because I've got some receivables I need to receive. Yeah, that's honest, right? Jamie asked, he wants a Shelbourne, let me see. He wants from Ontario, in Shelbourne, Ontario. Cattle trucks. I don't sell any DCP trucks, like, you know, the sets, the tractor trailers. I'm not a dealer. There's so many guys out there doing it. There are so many reputable buyers or sellers, I'm sorry, from eBay to, there's a whole list up in the notes in the Rockin' H No Secrets Lab. You could find a whole host of dealers that would be willing to sell you cattle sets any day of the week. So I just haven't, I don't like retail. The margins aren't great, and it's like, nah, don't want to do it. Where do I get stuff to make grain boxes? Well, I'll post a link to my Shapeways store, so you can buy that there. But if you're going to make it out of plastic like this, you can go to hobbylink.com. You can buy it at Amazon, any hobby store online. If you just Google Evergreen Plastics and this number, 4528 metal siding or 4544 board and batten, you'll come up with it all over the place. It's easy to get. Drake semi-grain trailer. You know, I haven't thought of doing a Drake. I don't know if anyone out there in the lab is planning on doing something, or anybody watching is planning on doing a Drake. One thing I've found with 3D printing, if I don't take a personal interest in it, it just doesn't work out as well. And for me to be the middleman is almost painful because your expectations and mine may not line up right, you know, and for me to go between me to the designer, say, you know, trying to communicate to my guy in the Netherlands saying, well, can you make this rotary girder a 0.5 millimeter bigger? It's not big enough, you know. Oh gosh, that is one kind of tedious. You know, it's one thing if you're doing it for yourself because you care about it, right? Whole nother matter when you're doing it for somebody else. That I really have no idea what a Drake semi-trailer is. Sorry. So, not on my list just yet. And we have Kyler in the house. Kyler's watching. Good to see you. All right. And Jamie says, no, thank you. Well, you're welcome. So I will have to look and see what the heck a Drake semi-trailer is. I do have, like, on my list of things I really want to do, a set of California grain pups. You know, those style, the open-end grain pups. That would be freaking cool. I would love to crowdsource that. I've got the measurements, and there's a guy right here in town. He fixes them up here in Kansas and then sells them to people passing through town. He's got them out there, just easy to find and to get the measurements. So if anybody watching wants to get in on a crowd-funded set of California double open-end grain pups, boom, talk to me. Imagine it'd be, I don't know what it'd cost, don't know. But I imagine for a couple $100 I can get you files that you can print and you can do whatever the heck you want. And then we'd all be happy, right? Okay. Okay, and Nathan says, just one of the hundreds of grain trailer builders. Right on. There you go. Okay, guys, I think we are running out of time. We are out of time. It's already 9:02. Holy cow, time flew. If you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to come back and post those in the comments. Glad to answer anything for you. PM me if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to share whatever I know with you. So, gosh, there's no use being stingy with information. That's just my policy. Just no use in it. The long way around is just the long way around, isn't it? Okay, so with that, I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. If there's any questions, again, comments, and then don't forget to share these videos when you see them. And you know what would be even cooler is if you did your own on something you care about. That way the world can learn from you. So that would be awesome too. So with that, I will see you next week here at Rockin' HTV. Uh-oh, Jason says he's interested in a California pub. We'll chat. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.